called the Northern Collector. Northern Collector, the water from Northern Collector must be delivered as per the design up until Mavoko. And it's supposed to spur from Outer Ring Road, Kangundo Road, up all the way until Tala Kangundo. It is supposed to spur through Joska and Koma. And it is supposed to serve Mavoko up to Kenani. So there are answers to these questions, but many people don't know where to look. Northern Collector is almost done. When the rainy season comes, this water must come to us because it is there, but we must be able to insist that the infrastructure of the national government brings it there. It is the job of the county government to now start doing the pipes into the areas, into the factories, into the villages, to the businessmen, and into the county itself. Kwake, I have mentioned to you, Kwake will fix a lot of problems, but we have to make Kwake clear fast. Right now, we are sitting on a time bomb. So, Chairman, water, the sources of water are identified. It is the job of the county government to make sure that when you open your taps, hakuna kubahatisha. You open the tap, water comes out. That requires focused leadership. It requires deliberate lobbying. It means that we must be close. We must be close to the government of the day. Can I re-emphasize that? Kila mtu anasema development ni haki yenu, lakini ukiwa mbali kwa serikali hautaipata. Usidanganywe na mtu. Water for farmers. There is an issue we have to discuss, and this is where we will need the wisdom at the village and the community level. The question of sand harvesting. All the sand which has built Kiambu, Moranga, Nairobi comes from Machakos. Do you know how much we collected in SES last year from sand harvesting? 50 million shillings. 50 million shillings is what we collected in SES. Now, this sand, this is the same sand which has built the expressway, which is 58 billion shillings. This is the same sand that has been used to build every single mjengo you see from here until past Kiambu. Because we know there is no sand in central Kenya. Sand inatoka mahali mbili, Masaini, Imaroro, na Ukambani. There is no other place for sand. The other places are in the North Rift. And by the time you bring sand from Bokot, it's too expensive. So the sand comes from our place. 56 million shillings in SES means that something is going wrong. Inspectors are collecting money and putting it into their pockets. Or somebody else is receiving this money at the expense of the county. I will leave it to you to guess. The issue of sand harvesting in the context of water retention. There are places which are good for sand harvesting and there are places which are bad. If you go to Masinga now and you see the land of farming which has been destroyed because of surface runoff, all our rivers which were holding sand have been emptied. And when they are emptied, it means those farms don't have access to water, which sits at the bottom of that sand. So I will propose two things if you gave me this job. One is that we will regulate sand harvesting. Kivuda has done it, and Makueni did not burn down. Makueni is still there. Na huwezi kukusa mchanga bila idhini ya serikali. So we are going to have to do the same thing here. Number two, if sand must be removed from our county, the wealth must stay with us also. Because we have two problems. When our boys pick sand from the river, they are paid so little that they can only do two things with it. They can either eat ugali for the day or watafute mogoka na pombe. And when they do mogoka na pombe, wanahangaisha wamama na wanatuhangaisha tukienda nyumbani. Si ni kweli? And we then have the problem which we are seeing in Central, where we have to import men. Sio ni shida. Msicheke, the boy child is in danger. You know, it's not a joke. When this gentleman mentioned that the boy child is in danger, it's because of poverty. The people exporting sand should be the businessmen here. And you people should be rich. And you should be rich because this mineral resource God has given us. But it's being exploited in a way that is not helping our community and is not helping our county. So we must regulate it. We must regulate it so that we allow for clean harvesting of water from sand dams, because the water that comes from the sand dam is the best water you can find. But we must be able to enable the communities in those areas to build the sand dams and to extract water from them. Pollution of Athi River, I have talked about it. Water for farmers, my approach is slightly different. Thwake Dam is a multi-billion dollar project. Now, we don't have those multi-billions in dollars. What we have is some good money that we are given by the national government. And ile kitu hatujakosa Ukambani ni milima na mabonde. Ukiwa na milima na mabonde, the ability to do micro dams and the ability to do small dams on seasonal rivers is very high. Many of you, I'm sure, have tried in your own places to do small dams in your areas. Micro dam, mini dam is the future of this county. In Kadiani, all the big dams imejaa silt. Desilting a dam during this season, like now, ya kiangazi, is a 1 week affair. Why hasn't the county done it? When you talk to the leaders in that county, the MPs are very stressed. And this is another reason why I've told you I'm not interested in being a politician, because I want to be able to pick up the phone and call the MP and ask him, boss, how do we work together? And if you are a politician trying to field candidates against your colleagues, or trying to undermine your colleagues, or you are trying to fight for some other things, then development will not be possible. And I'll get to that point a little bit later on. The issue of dealing with water must be a collective effort of all our leaders, all the MCAs elected and nominated, up until our senator. Because water is the one thing that will unlock the potential of this country. Everyone knows, ukiwa na maji and you plant, anything grows in our region, anything grows, provided it has access to water. Micro dams are not expensive. They are actually quite cheap. It is simply to agree on where are they put, how will the community maintain, who will get access to water, how do we make sure that it is reachable so that our old women are not being chased and they have to go another 20 kilometers to look for water to cook food. Sindio? Aya. Education. Everyone runs away from this issue of ECD. I'm not going to shy away from saying the first priority in education for the county government is to get ECD correct. Now, many of you might not know, 35% of the total 1.4 million people in this county are between 0 and 9 years. Out of those, half of them, close to 5 million children, are ECD going age. That is priority number one, to get the foundation correct. In my administration, two things are going to happen. One is ECDs will be institutions that we take pride in because they are very important. Teachers will be paid well for the work of teaching our children. And food will be provided to children when they go to class. And I have a reason for saying this. The bulk of our women are home-based workers. These children give them headache night and day. Now, if you can deal with the issue of getting the child to school, that is one headache we have taken off them. If we can deal with the issue of that child eating one meal when they're in school, they come home wakiwa at least wameshiba kiasi, we have taken some stress off the parents. Right? And these things are not impossible. It's simply just saying, hiyo mchanga mkitoa mtalipa, mtupatie pesa, tulishe watoto wetu. Hizo quarries ambao mnatoa minerals na zinaenda kwingine hatujui zinaenda wapi, mtalipa. Let me ask you another question. The total amount of money we have made from cess from quarries, do you know how much it is in the last year, 2020 financial year? 360 million shillings. Now, I know for a fact, because I'm the one who has been building roads in this country, all the roads, expressway, eastern bypass, northern bypass, all of those roads have been built with sand and stone and hardcore and marram from Machakos County. The expressway, Simiti and all, the total cost of that project is 57 billion shillings. Out of that 57 billion shillings, at least 1/3 of the cost is minerals extracted from here. Where is the money? Because the Chinese have paid to build that road. Where is the money that should be collected? Now, my job is very simple. I'm not a forensic auditor. There are people whose job it is to do that. My job is to make sure that we collect every penny which is due to the county government, because I want to educate those children for free and I want them to eat when they go to school. So I want to give that commitment on ECDs. The teachers who are paid by the Parents Teachers Association, that should be the responsibility of the government, the county government. We take this pressure away from parents, because you cannot be taking your child to school and then having to dig again into your pocket to pay the teacher. It's not right. It is not right, not for ECD. Because when you go to primary, the national government has guaranteed you that this child will learn for free. And it has been happening since President Kibaki started this. If your child goes to a day secondary school, which is owned by public, the child goes for free. And this is under President Kenyatta's 100% transition program. But we all know the problem starts at the beginning. Some of these children will never even get a chance to go to primary school because they were failed at ECD. A chance to go to university. Actually, majority of them will not vocational training institute fully function. Machakos Technical Training Center, the Machakos Technical Training College, it is for us to go back and renegotiate the charter. Right now, it is 70% degree course, 30% certificates. These young boys and girls, if they go to school for 6 months and they come out knowing how to weld, they come out knowing how to fix modern cars, they come out knowing how to operate computers, they come out knowing how to do masonry work with new technology, they come out knowing how to do plumbing with new technology. Those people are employable from the minute they walk outside that university or that technical college. Not only are they employable, they are self-employable, because they have a skill set that is their hands and they can put it to good use immediately. So I am very clear on what we will do to give our children a pathway so that we get them off the streets. By the way, border business is not a problem. I have no problem with border. My only challenge with border is that the hospitals are going to collapse because we have too many injured border drivers, and we have to find a way of having that discussion. I spoke with the chairman of the Border Association about 2 weeks ago, and I told them the issue with border is we are going to have to talk about the number of people who are dying on borders and the number of people who are becoming crippled on borders. If we can agree on that, we support them 200%, because that is a way of earning living and is a legitimate source of income. Yes. But they cannot continue killing everybody. There was a discussion about bursaries and scholarships, and I would like to go back to my statement about politics and the reason why I am not going to be your typical politician. Because the typical politician cannot put their pride aside and call the colleagues in leadership to sit and have a discussion about the welfare of our children. Our MPs, we have 8 MPs. We have a woman rep. So if you count the 9, those 9 people have access to at least 100 million shillings each every year. That is just under 1 billion shillings for education. Now, many of them have challenges. They say, if I have this 100 million, some of them want to put up classes, some of them want to do bursary, Some of them want to do police station, police post, which are all good things. But my view is as follows. I would want to sit with these leaders and agree that the county government matches shilling for shilling. Whatever they put into education, we match shilling for shilling. So if they say they are going to put out of their 100 million, each of them will put 50 million into education, we will match with 50 million. And the reason for that is so that we don't leave our children hanging. There is no point in giving a child bursary, yeah, one term. Atafanya nini na one term? This child must finish school. They must finish school. And for them to finish school, we must make the bursary program sustainable. The county government has money, and it can find the money. And I'll tell you where we find this money, because it is there. It is hanging in the air. But we have to get it. Scholarships. You know, as a community, there are two things we must reflect on. Wakamba Wakiita, they are businessmen. Do you see a Mount Kenya Foundation? Where is ours? Where is ours? Because we have not created our billionaires. We have not empowered our businessmen. We have not concentrated wealth in the community to create pillars of the community who can help the community at large. There are many of you who are businessmen and women. We must not demonize wealth. Wealth is a good thing if it is acquired legitimately, because when you are rich, we don't have to worry about being called, because we know everybody near your house is going to benefit from you. When you go home, we know your neighbors can come and knock on your door and they say, please, I have an issue which needs some help. Wealth is important. But the pathway to wealth must be a decision that we make as a community. And it starts with prioritizing education. This issue of the scholarship. We have our children in all counties from Machakos. They are learning in centers of excellence. They're in Alliance, they're in all these other schools. We have our best and brightest. Many of them come from homes which cannot even afford that school fees. It is our duty to say that anybody from Machakos County in the top 50 at Standard 8 or in the new curriculum, if that top 50, any of those cannot pay their fees, we pay their fees from Form 1 to Form 4 every year through a governor's scholarship, because they are the best and the brightest, and they come from homes where they cannot afford to pay for those fees. They should not drop out. You go to Form 4. It doesn't matter where this child went to do their Form 4, even if they did it in Pokot. But if their origin is here, and they need to go to university, and they have excelled, they must be paid to go to university. Because these are the children that will create the Machakos Foundation, the people who will come and they will carry this community for the future. But we have to invest in them now. And we must find it. And to educate 50 children in a national school where school fees is 50,000 a year is not a lot of money. It is not a lot of money. And they are philanthropists, people like Wings to Fly and others who have empowered children across this country. That is why I really would like you to give me this job, because I know all these people and I have no pride. Me, I'll go and sit with them and I'll tell them, please, if the county government is raising 500 million for scholarships, I want Safaricom Foundation to give me 100 million. I want Equity to give me 100 million. But they won't do this unless the government is credible and has credible people. Because the currency that is traded when it comes to money is credibility. I just hope that I have given you comfort that I have a plan on education. I know the responsibilities of the county government, which we will undertake. But more importantly, I have a vision for what education can do for our young people. Give me this chance. Agriculture and livestock. Many of you may not know, but I am a farmer. And I love farming. But farming is expensive. it is expensive and it is not profitable. You do it because of you don't want to see the land empty. Sinikweli, you know you must go out unaona kasukuma kanzo somewhere there planting because you don't want to see your shamba, and when it grows it looks so nice and you say I wish I could grow this thing and make money out of it. Now, what is my plan on agriculture? Let us start with the basics. Extension services must work. There are young men and women who are employed as extension officers. They must wake up in the morning and go do their work. If they don't want, they go out and leave the county. Because if you are people, I was talking to the coffee farmers the other day, the ones who are running LECO. And then one of the ladies told me that they are being paid 30 shillings a kilo for mbuni. 30 shillings a kilo for mbuni. The same day that mbuni goes to the auction in Mombasa, it is sold for 650 shillings a kilo. So, what is happening? Because if you go to Meru, and you go to Kirinyaga, and you go to Nyeri, and you go to parts of Mount Elgon where they are doing coffee, the farmers are being paid minimum 150 shillings a kilo. So what happened to our farmers here? They were abandoned by the system, that is all. They were left to fight by themselves. More so, none of our coffee farmers get access to e-voucher. Bolea and inputs are subsidized by the national government for coffee farmers. Where is our share? This work is done through the county government because the county government is responsible for agriculture. The national government is responsible for policy. But the work of providing extension officers, the work of looking after farmers, the work of doing soil mapping to know that this soil is good for maize, this soil is good for cassava, this soil is good for this, is the work of the county government. I was looking at the budget that was provided for agriculture for extension services, and it is the price of a Toyota Hilux. I think it's 4 million or 5 million to serve a community of 1.4 million residents. How is that possible? Are we taking this thing seriously? I don't think we are taking it seriously. But agriculture has money. I am going to convince all of you, except the ones who sit at the top of the hills in Kadiani where it looks very beautiful, to cut all your maize. Stop wasting your time and your money growing maize. We plant traditional crops which work for this region. Cowpeas, dengu, cassava, these are the things which do well here. Now, the question you might ask is, now when we plant, what do we do with these things? People plant maize because they think they are going to get a gunia of maize and they are going to peleka it to posho and they are going to eat ugali. It's the most expensive maize you can find if your 1 acre is producing 3 bags. Equally, if you took that same 1 acre and you planted dengu with it, or you planted yellow beans with it, you will probably get maybe upwards of 15 to 20 bags. Now, you will ask me, am I just going to eat dengu? No. What you want is money. And this is what I'm going to try and convince our farmers. Smart agriculture is the future. Stop planting things to eat. God has blessed you with land for some good things. I, in my first year in office, will build what we call the County Food Reserve. Now, the County Food Reserve is simply a copy of what the national government have done with the National Food Reserve, Strategic Food Reserve. And the reason I'm saying that is, if I put money in the County Strategic Food Reserve, I will buy all your dengu, I will buy all your nzuu, I will buy all your cassava, and I will put it in our marketplace for traders to come and buy. My job is to build a warehouse and cold storage so that all these people in Wakulima in Nairobi Instead of sending brokers to you to cheat our mothers at the farm gate, wacha wakuje ngangana with me. Because I want to control. I want the county government to control what comes out of our productivity. You, what you want is money. When you bring me your dengu, I will pay you your money. You go and buy ugali if it's what you want. But we must control these things. Now, everyone looks at what is happening in Makueni and they think it is magic. Yesterday, I spoke to Governor Kibwana, and he has done his strategic food reserve for grain processing because he does not want to buy dengu na ikae na iharibike. He has built a plant which allows him to get that dengu, clean it, treat it, package it. It can stay 5 years. But that 5 years is the problem of the county. It is my job in the county to market and sell that. Me, I pay you upfront when you bring me those things. And the brokers, we are going to chase them. Let them come and buy these things from our market people in the wholesale market. But they will not be allowed to come to the farms to pick these things because our farmers don't know what the farm gate price. We will make sure ukienda kanisa Sunday, tutatuma circular kwa priest asome bei ya mbaazi ni hii. Msidanganywe na mtu. And me have said nitashikana na kanisa namna hii because kanisa ndio iko na watu. And when you ask me about public participation is going to be done primarily through our religious leaders because they are the ones who have access to the people on a weekly basis. They will read the same way they say on Sunday, mwana wa NZIOKA and sijui na nani wanataka kuolewa. Kuna mtu ana pingamizi? Haya. Na ukiambiwa bei ya nzuu utakataa, utaambiwa? Kilo moja 80. Wamama mjue, broker akija kwako mwanzie 80, lakini ulete kwa county. Tukupatie voucher, uende uchukue pesa yako. And it is as simple as that. It is the job of myself and my trade officer. Tutatuma aende atafute all the muhindi zuit dengu. We take orders for 1 year. So that our job is just to supply dengu. It has been done. I'm not promising you showers in your home. I'm just telling you, bring me the dengu, I will buy it from you. Mimi sitawajengea shawa, msidanganywe na mtu. Tumeongea mambo ya chicken production. Now, if you grow chickens, what do you call this capon? Chukua hizo capon na uzichome zote. Leave that work to Kenchik. Ile siri tuko nayo ni kuku kienyeji. What you want is access to market. Now it is the job of the ministry or the Department of Agriculture to find you market for kuku kienyeji. Everybody in Kenya, wale ambao wako na maugonjwa, everybody is looking for healthy food. The best kienyeji kuku comes from Ukambani. Roadrunner ile original. So badala ya kuhangaisha wamama wakitafuta chicken mash, sijui wakitafuta nini, and the price of the chicken mash means you cannot even sell that chicken for a decent price. You can't afford it. Leave your kienyeji izurure kwa boma, ikifika ile kilo inatakikana mulete tuuze. But we need to create a market for you because kienyeji chicken has money. And I want to convince people who are farmers, if we connect you to the market today, and everyone just looks at the market in Kenya, the market is big. There are places where it's true, there are no chickens, but I won't say which ones because I don't want to be on national TV like some other people. But we have a market. We have a market in our region of over 150 million people. Anyone who wants to eat healthy food, chakula ya kwanza ni samaki, ukipata, ama kuku kienyeji. Haya. Livestock. Here, this is something which I also want to talk about because Machakos is not Kiambu, and we must accept. Ukijaribu kupanda Napier grass hapo nje mtakaa miaka 7 mpaka ifike hapa. So why are you keeping dairy cows? Why are you keeping dairy cows? One of the things I want to propose for livestock is I would like to sit with the leadership of our big societies. I want to sit with the leadership of Katilem. I want to sit with the leadership of Malindi and Konza, because I want to convince them to stop cutting that land. And I want to convince them, you register your members. The county government is going to give you, we will work with the national government through KAGRIC, and we give you seed stock. Tuweke boran, females na males, 10,000 kwa hiyo shamba. Every year, when those things produce, we become the suppliers of good quality beef. Kenya hii, there is a big shortage of beef. But God gave us good land. Somebody trying to grow cabbages in Malindi is an act of futility. We have to stop. We have to stop. The reason why our forefathers fought for that land with the Wakavi is because it was for cows. Kapiti, when you cross the railway line inaitwaje? Masaini. Inaitwa Kaputei. That was land for cows. Now, if we sell cows every year, 10,000 cows, na unauza kwa ratili, hata ukisema tunapelekea KMC watakulipa 180 shillings per kilo. Boran mzuri, 16 months itakuwa na kilo 350 to 400. Kila ng'ombe inakupa 1,000 kila mwaka. Hiyo dividend ukikata na unapeana shareholders za Konza na Malili, hiyo ni pesa mtaweka kwa mfuko na uende ununue cabbage ile ulikuwa unataka. But let us not waste the wealth that God has given us. Because when we zone this county properly, you will have somewhere to live, which is served by water, it is served by roads. People are now settling anywhere and everywhere, and then they don't get any services. When you go to Chumbi and you see the settlement that has happened in Chumbi, and there is no road, and there is no water, and people have built their homes and they have their families there. It is the job of the county government to provide these things. But we must do it by creating wealth first. We must create wealth. And there is wealth in livestock. Msidharau ng'ombe ya jirani, iko na pesa. It is our job as a county government through the extension officer to educate you, to give you vaccination, to give you dawa ya deep, to give you information about breeding na inbreeding. That is the job. What was Mwindi Mbingu doing? Mwindi Mbingu took cows to Nairobi until the whole city was covered in dust. Those cows came from up here, Utituni. Enough to stop the whole city of Nairobi. Wazungu walitetemeka juu ya zile ng'ombe Mwindi Mbingu walileta. Today, can you see those cows? And somebody will tell you, you can't keep cows in Ukambani. Kwani, where was he keeping them? And this is history that we all know. My plan for agriculture, I will just summarize it for you. Extension services will work. Access to markets, so that you know the price of your produce, whatever you are growing. Smart agriculture. We will tell you in the whole sub-counties, in every sub-county, we will give you the soil analysis, so that we tell you which things you should grow and where you should grow them and the season for growing. Those people who are growing cash crops, we will make sure that you get access to the e-voucher program of the national government. Upewe your subsidy for mbolea na other farm inputs. The county strategic food reserve. I want you to go and tell our women and our men in the farms wapande hiyo dengu from the year 2023-2024. Ndio munipatie 2022 na 2023 nijenge silos. Si ndio? So that we buy this, they get their money. I hope I have prosecuted agriculture to your satisfaction. Maneno ya maziwa, as I've said, if your Borani cows give you milk ni mzuri tu, lakini inajua lita 2 lita 3 ni mzuri mkunywe nyumbani. But livestock, unless they come from a very water-full area, I'm not going to encourage milk, because I also don't want us to waste our resources on things which are not going to be affordable. Let us produce meat. In Kiambu, they cannot keep ranch cows because they have no space. Here we have space. It might not be a lot, but it is certainly more than what is in central Kenya. And they eat meat, and they eat more meat than us. Let us sell it to them so that we get some money back. Sindio? Haya. Umeniuliza maneno ya leadership and governance. Accountability. How will I run my government? I will run the government the same way I have discharged my duties over the last 7 years. Number one, performance contracting. There is nobody who will work for the county government, myself included, who is not going to work to targets. If we have agreed that we are adopting the development plan given to us by the Machakos County Forum, Development Forum, and we say that in the first year we want to have achieved X, there is somebody responsible for that. We give them a performance contract. They do their work. If it is a county inspector, I'm going to tell him, I want you to collect from this place, this place, this place. You have a zone. You bring this revenue in to the county exchequer. If you don't perform and you cannot explain what you are doing, then allow us to hire a young person with the energy to do this work. But then you don't want to chase people juu ya fitina. It is very good to give them a performance contract, waone wao wenyewe, wakisema hawataki basi watoke hiyo siku. But if they sign, that is what we measure them on. Delivery unit. We will agree every financial year what the priorities, development priorities for the county are. We cannot do too many things because that is how people start to lie to each other. We must work within the resources that we have. We know in the first year budget imechorwa. Me, I'll find the budget which has been drawn by this county government. So I'll have to work with what they have put in the budget. Even if I change something in the supplementary, it's only 10%. So my budget will be 2022-2023. First of all, I can guarantee you on-source revenue will have doubled. This 1.6 is not even half of what we should be getting. On-source revenue for Machakos County, minimum, should be 5 billion shillings. Minimum. The rest we must create by attracting investment. But what we are leaving on the table today, easily, is 3 to 4 billion shillings in uncollected revenues. And by the way, when I say revenues, not just cess and license fees, also fines. Ukiwa ndani ya estate, residential, na unaanza Mugithi in the middle of the night and people complain to the county. It is the job of the county to control noise pollution. Me, I just come, tunachukua hiyo system yako, tunakupatia fine. Na ukitaka system yako, kuja ulipe fine kwa county. So that when people go home, they go home. If somebody wanted to sleep in a bar, angekaa kwa bar. Sindio? So that we restore some dignity to residential areas and to zoning. If you have a bar, we will allow you to do what you want within the confines of the bar. There's no problem. But don't take your bar home. Noise pollution can generate significant revenue. The factories, as much as we are saying we want to attract investment, these investments must be responsible investments. We know for a fact that there are people who are living in homes and they are living a terrible life because there is somebody operating a factory next to them. Kila usiku wanafungua moshi, toxic. and nobody does anything about it. You call the police, you call the county, you know what has happened. Me, because I want the money for revenue to take my children to ECD for free and to buy zoo from our mothers, I'm going to fine them and I'm going to collect their fines because I need to pay for these promises which I am making you. So we will collect this revenue. And we will do it by performance contracting, by ensuring that we focus only on a limited number of projects every year that have maximum impact on the community. I will spend all my time lobbying to get more support from the national government. Because remember, we are only getting 15%. Iko 85 tumewacha kwa serikali kuu. Hiyo 85 ndio nawaambia msikae mbali na serikali, because if we stay far from power, we don't get part of that 85. This is what my message has been. Let us return back to power, because maringo na njaa haitatusaidia. Let us sleep with full bellies at night and make sure our children have good lives. Because we don't have a fight as a community with the government. There is no reason why we should not be inside any government that is coming. But most importantly, the government that is coming in August. Because out of that 85%, we must squeeze more out. We must squeeze more. And I'll talk about what we will do with it when it comes to the issues of health. Why I want us to squeeze and not be far from this government. You have talked about public participation. So this White House, I've seen something very interesting. First of all, we will close that office of the deputy governor. Let the deputy governor work in the office next to me. Why are they in a different office? When they have their own government. That building must be put for public service. Let us convert it to a place for licenses, to a place for things. Let it be a service provision. There's a very nice building which our current governor has built, but it must be used to the maximum for the benefit of people. His Excellency the President, you know, many of you only see him on TV, but you don't know the meetings he has. In one day, he can be meeting the KEPSA Business Roundtable, wale wa pwenyenye, wale wa kubu. But in the same day, before the day is finished, ameketi na wamama kutoka Nyamakima. This is the president of the country. How is it possible that the county governor cannot see the women leaders from the market? How is it possible that the county governor does no time for the chairman of Bodaboda? How is it possible that the businessmen from Mavoko, from Machakos town, from Mwala, from Kangundo, from Yatta, I hear in Yatta there's a very nice building which is closed. Atinatumiwa for holiday. Hiyo tutaifungua and we'll put government services inside there. The challenge I'm going to face, ladies and gentlemen, is that I entered this race a bit late. And I entered it late because I had an assignment to finish. I wanted to discharge my duties with the president until I had finished the job he had given me, so that I can now come and look for this other job. But being late means that some of these messages I'm giving you, you people are going to have to help me to take it to the farthest corner of this county. Because hata nikianza ziara zangu, there's only so much we can cover. And I'm going to be in those ziaras. We are going to be camping there for the next few months. Tukiongea na wamama na wazee na vijana, right? And explaining to them my dreams. But you are the most respected people in this county. Mkiongea tu once, hii maneno imeisha. Tunangojea tu kuhesabu kura. When we talk about public participation, I want to pledge to you, number one, any circular and any information on government legislation, we will work with the Speaker of the County Assembly to make sure that all this information is disseminated through the churches, through the mosques, in the religious communities. The role of ward administrator, and this is something I want to take note of. When you go to sub-location level, uko na viongozi wawili. Kuna moja ana represent bendera ya rais, anaitwa chief na sub chief. Very important person. Msiwahi kudharau chief. Because chief will decide whether your child will be accepted as a citizen of Kenya or not. Akikataa kukupatia reference ya kitambulisho hutapata. Si ni kweli? Haya. Akisema hujahesabiwa, hautahesabiwa. Chief is a very important person. I want to make at the ward level the role of the village elders, the ward representative and the chief. I will provide the money from the county government for them to sit once every month to discuss circulars from the national government, circulars from the county government, and also to push back to me the issues from the ward, which have been picked from the ward. Rais akiamka mapema na asubuhi anapewa brief na regional coordinator, na anajua kuna village huko Turkana inaitwa Nadapal. Leo watu wageni ambao hawajatoka Kenya hii wameonekana wasita, wamepitia na tunashuka wao ni wezi. That is the job of the ward administrator, to make sure that the county government does not get disconnected from the people, so that when there is an issue in Mudedeni, I should not be waiting for the MP or the MCA to call me. The ward rep ametuma signal mpaka county, tujue kuna shida kwa market, mataa za mulika mwizi zimeibwa jana usiku, lazima zikuwe replaced. We have to have that system working, and I will reinstate it by providing resources for them to have a cup of tea. I hear the village elders, they feel disrespected. They need some small bus fare to go from place to place. If you are giving village elders in 40 wards 1,000 bob a month, what is that money? What is that money? It's nothing. But what the impact it will have, to have the ward representative and the chief to sit and agree, and they hold baraza at the sub-location level, itanisaidia sana, so that we don't become disconnected from the realities on the ground. The other way of public participation will be to ensure that the forums which represent the different interests have meetings, round tables, number one, with the accounting officers in the county. Because what is the job of the chief officer and the CEC if they don't meet you? What is he employed to do? He's not employed to talk to papers. He's employed to talk to people and to give people this service. When they are finished meeting with you, the issues that they cannot resolve, I want those meetings to come to me, so that we now meet with you through the different stakeholders. Kama ni group or PWDs, we have our session, our round table. If it is traders in a particular trade, we have our round table. This is something we can do at least twice a year, to make sure that every 6 months we sit down and have a meeting as the stakeholders, with no brokers, nobody censoring. If there's an emergency, that door, that White House is not a church that you have to ask for permission. You come and you make an appointment and you are seen. But if the government is working properly, your issues should have been resolved before you look for me. And that is my job, to make sure that these things are resolved. Equity amongst the 40 wards. If there is a government service that is available in Machakos, it should be available in Momboni. It should be available in Mudesia. It should be available in the deepest corner of Tala. Decentralization of services. Mungu ametupatia internet. Our internet is good. Vijana wako mtandao saa yote. So connecting an office anywhere in the county is possible. If there is a permit which is needed, nobody should get onto a bus to come look for it here. As far as possible, we take those services down, so that every ward, you feel the county government. If we cannot do it at ward level, we first start at constituency level, so that we have, at least in every sub-county, a fully functional office from the county government that is providing services, that stops you from having to come all the way until Machakos town to look for any service. And because Machakos is not that big, that office I'm telling you in Yatta must be opened and converted. Because if I want to sleep in Yatta, I will go and book a room in a hotel.